Daze in effect.
Days in effect, my brethren. We are
Indeed.
back, documenting the days, as we like to say.
Facts.
Back with a new look.
Woo.
Days in effect. Just like every season, or new season at least, we've taken this show, tried to evolve it.
Skirt.
Yes, now we're back, and we have a new addition to the show, even though he's been behind the lens all the time, but now he's in front of the lens. Willie B, much love. What's up, Willie?
What's going on? I'm like looking at three things at the same time.
And you got that fat ass glass of wine too. You know he vibing.
I'm looking at the wine, the camera, the audio.
Man, behind the
that
camera
man
and in
is-
front of the camera.
The man of many talents. That's the Days itself. You got to be talented out here to conquer it, to say the least. So,
Without
how
a
y'all
doubt.
feeling though? Otherwise,
Man, I cannot complain, bro. You know what I mean? Like I said, I could always complain, but who gonna listen, man? Honestly, like I'm doing all right. Things could always be worse, but I'm looking forward to things getting better soon. You know, I'm all right though. I'm floating, vibing. Days is always in effect as always, you know, so I'm just trying to stay balanced.
Yep.
How you doing?
I definitely am gonna complain, and y'all gonna listen. So get
they
ready.
might not care though.
Yeah, they might not care.
I don't care whether you care or not.
You about to listen.
You about to listen.
This dude.
How you doing, AT?
Yeah, how you feeling, bro?
We back, stepping forward, trying to move forward. That's what it's about for me. If I can keep moving forward, then I'll be all right. I'll make it through.
Yeah.
But just like every new show or new start to the season, we kind of bring people back on what the Days actually is for anybody out there not really familiar. And they're like, oh, what are these people talking about, this abstract days? The definition of days is, I guess, kind of like a hazy view or something like
Facts.
that. But our perspective of the days is more of like something that we are all sharing, something that affects us all individually, differently.
Yeah.
But-
It's almost like if one thing happened to you, it's like a domino effect. It happens with the energy in the world. You know what I mean? You all have, I have a bit in the energy in the world right now. If I can put out energy and change the way somebody else's day is going, change the way their energy is flowing. So it's essentially just a network of like shared experiences between people. You know what I mean? One thing always affects another, and the Days is always in effect. You know, whether
And
it's
it's not just people either.
Yup.
It could be the universe itself. Oh, it's raining today. I'm kind of sad because I don't see the sun today.
oh, my check
it's
is
winter.
late. My check came in late. Like, dang, no, I gotta adjust to this. Like you said, like it's
Yep.
just it's not necessarily people. It's the Days.
Facts.
It's the universe. Locc, go ahead and hit him with that quote of the day for today, the startup episode to season 8, y'all.
Quote of the day. I feel like it's pretty appropriate, considering how our year has been going. I don't really need to.
2020, by the way.
Yeah, I don't need to even go into that to let y'all know how it's going. Y'all know how it's going. But essentially, we spend a lot of time in solitude. So I feel like this quote is really, really appropriate. And it's by J.R. Rim. And it goes as follows: your biggest battles internally happen in boredom. And I feel like it's just solid, you know. Like it really shows what people had to go through in the past 6 or 7 months, 8 months or so. It's August, so I guess it happened around February, March. But folks were being isolated. You know what I mean? This world is so social. It's such a social world. We're social beings. We like being around other people. Our lives are usually revolved around being around other people. And when you're being stuck to be by yourself, whether it's because of a personal thing or something more mass affecting like this, where it's like a pandemic, you know what I mean? Where everybody, that Days is affecting everybody in some way, shape, or form. You have your own conversations and your own questions to answer when you by yourself, you know what I mean? And sometimes those answers aren't really what you want, and you got to sort of come to terms with it. So, yeah, I feel like if anything, personally, I've definitely run into some battles in the past, couple months, just being at the crib, just being stuck at the crib, being bored, not having nothing to do. I'm literally sitting on my couch, just sitting there, scrolling through the same stuff on my phone, like not tired. It's 2 a.m. I'm like, oh, what am I doing? And I got to sit there and try to address what I'm about to do with my life and how to actually find purpose, or at least find progress. You know what I mean? Like AT said, like it's always something in the way, man. But as long as you can look back and be like, I made progress, you know, that's all we asking for. You know what I mean? That's all I'm really looking for. So that's one thing I've been trying to focus on. You know,
And I think that's a really good point because my kind of vision of what the days is that the days is the energy that affects the ebbs and flows of life on a daily basis.
Yes.
So when it comes to COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever you want to call it, actually do not call it the Kung Flu. That is terrible and
That
racist.
is so
Coronavirus.
Do not call it coronavirus.
I've never heard that.
Bro, I've heard Kung Flu. I've heard the CCPV.
Okay.
Yeah, just do not call it the Kung Flu or the Chinese Communist Party virus. Do not call it that. But when we're dealing with this COVID-19, I've noticed that actually my ankle injury last year prepared me for this.
Yeah.
And your
Very
quote
true.
about boredom really is hitting home, because the fact of the matter is when you are in situations where a portion of you is hindered, you figure out, or you are put in a position where you should figure out how to make the best of the situation and how to move further
You gotta come to terms with it.
in spite of it.
A lot of people, I don't say a lot of people, but I know that folks do struggle with trying to move forward because of that part of themselves being gone. Whether it's a job, whether it's a game system or something like that, whether it's a person or it's something removed from your life that you heavily identify with, you have to find a way, or a functionality, like you said, where you can't walk or something, you can't move. I remember I had surgery, and it was a moment for me. I had to really question. I had to like address some things on myself and be like, okay, I have to be able to be cool with this being my life, possibly, you know what I mean, or me finding a way to move forward mentally, internally, in those moments where I couldn't leave the house. You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people, when they get stuck in that position, they aren't able to come to terms with accepting the fact that this is no longer a reality. You know what I mean? So in your case, let's say someone broke their leg, and they're stuck immobile for about 6 months or something like that, and they can't come to terms with the fact that like they have to move forward. That can lead to all types of mental anguish, things like depression. You know what I mean? It can lead to, and depression leads to all other types of things. You know what I
Facts.
mean? So that's the thing. You have to be able to address it head on. If you don't, it's going to address you head on. You know what I mean? It's
And
gonna
I
start
think there's
affecting you.
only two moves really when it comes to that. You either kind of move from that place of fear, which you're referring to,
Yep.
or where Willie's referring to, you kind of get creative and try to figure out what's best for your time. And that's, again, we talk about the days, and some people can look at our past shows and be like, wow, they have this really negative perspective on it. And then you look at a few other shows and you could be like, wow, the days is actually kind of positive as well.
Good
So at
point,
the end of
good
the
point.
day, it's really how each individual takes this coming at them and turns it back around. You know what I mean? They
Yep.
kind of say, there's so much out of our control, obviously,
Dude.
but it's how you react to it. And that's the foundation, essentially, of the days.
I agree 100%. That's a great way to put it, honestly. And so that's for anybody who's in there wondering, trying to figure out, what is the days? Is the days the wind? Is the days my dreams? Like, no, the days, it's so hard. It's so simple that it's hard to understand. You know what I mean? It really is just the state of your mind in that moment. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own individual days. We all have a shared days as well. And that's when it comes to those mass affecting issues like the pandemic or weather. But a lot of times we have our own issues, and being able to empathize and understand that this other person may have their own extenuating circumstances going on with their life, their own days, is a part of the days as well. So understanding other people's as well as your own days is important.
And I think that's a really good point, is the fact that you kind of said that we have our own days, but then we have a shared days.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to what I was saying, where I was like, oh, it is the energy that affects the ebbs and flows.
Yes.
And the perfect example of that is like if you ever watch a TV show and there's like an overarching storyline,
Yep.
but then each episode has
Subplots.
this subplot to it. That's the days.
That's every day.
Boom.
You know what I mean? You got your
You
goals.
know I like my plots. Come on, Willie.
Look, like,
You know I like my plots. And back to that, too, as this corona has taken its time and we've learned to grow with it and
Yes.
learned how to move within it,
Progress.
you see how we've adapted
Yeah.
as people move to like Zoom. I've been saying for a year now, if not longer, live streaming is the future.
Yep.
Live streaming is the way. You see that grow as well.
Yep.
You see Amazon taking off. You see businesses declining.
Yep.
All these are part of the individual dazes that the virus is playing and quarantine is playing on our own individual reality. So, and I mean, ain't no telling really where the future goes, but
Yeah.
at least we can kind of take the joy in, not even joy, but kind of the overwhelming not even happiness. I don't even know what the word for it is right now, but kind of that feeling where
almost being content, just being
content,
comfortable.
but also we've learned to adapt, and we've learned that again we can't move from this place of fear, because if we do that, we're not going outside.
You got to come to terms with
I mean?
the reality, man. It's like if you lived in the jungle, you can't just stay in your little hut all day if because you know there's animals out there. You know there's something out there that can kill you, but you got to live. You know what I mean? Same thing with being in a crib. You could be scared of the freeway. You could be scared of anything because of whatever reason. You know
could be
what I mean?
scared of spiders.
And you could be scared to leave anything. You could be scared to go out and live your life. Why would you let that hold you down? The same thing when it comes to fear of anything, fear of failure. You know what I mean? Fear of rejection. All these things fall into that same route where it's like you're afraid of dealing with it or acknowledging this or having to acknowledge this in person live. You know what I mean? But how else would you move forward? You know what I mean?
And I think a good thing, we always talk about conquering the days, and one of the best ways that I can explain conquering the days is confronting life situations with understanding.
Yeah. It's a matter of realizing that this is reality. You know what I mean? And this could happen. It happened. Okay, let's try and come to terms with it and continue to move forward, because, you know what I mean, you can't just ignore or reject everything that's real in your life and try to just dismiss it as being something that isn't necessarily, oh, this doesn't match up with my plan. No, you know what I mean? This is you, though. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, that's where it comes to a point of your identity. But if you're strong in your identity, you know what I mean, you should be okay to acknowledge when you failed and when you succeeded. So it's real. You know what I mean? The days is always in effect, though. Every day is a battle, you know what I mean, when it comes to the days. But, you know, everybody deals with it differently. You know, sometimes some days it's harder than others, for sure. You know what I mean? I know we all got our own individual days. We all dealing with our own stuff right now, all conquering in our own ways as well. But, you know, like you said, it ebbs and flows, man, you know. And you got to be willing to roll with the punches for real in order to keep moving forward. Can't give up.
Gotta keep moving forward. That's the days. That's how we like to talk about it too. We always try to end on that conquering, more of a positive side, because you can see some of the negative elements consistently in the days. But the positive for us is that this is just a challenge, and you must break free, and you must get stronger, and you must keep leveling up.
Yes.
And that's what it's about. That is
up.
our discussion for today. Way up. We're way up today. Back, season 8 is rolling. We're live. We're gonna have new guests on. We're gonna have a new look. As you can see, you see me. I'm virtual, but I'm still here. I'm still conquering the days with my brothers, the only brothers I would love to conquer the days with. But that's what it is. That's the end of our discussion. Stay
next
tuned
time
for the rest of our content, y'all.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Welcome back. This is the spotlight segment of our show for today. No guests. But that doesn't mean we can't take our time in this days, as we've done in the past, and kind of just reach out and spotlight people that we think not only deserve it, but also are talented enough to make it to that next level and bring light on the culture, on Dazes, on the world itself, I guess. If you haven't checked out any of these previous spotlights, we've had so many guests from the Northeast Ohio area, as well as other areas, come onto the show and just show their true light, as Locc would say. Show their true light, talk about the days with us. Go check that. All those links down below. But today, obviously no guest, new format, new season.
Yeah.
We still got some spotlights. So let's get into them.
Willie, we're going to start with you, man.
Ooh. All right. Well, one of the spotlights I definitely want to point out is somebody that y'all have seen on the show before.
Yes.
This artist goes by the name Love Abstract, but one thing that y'all may not understand is that this man is a businessman. And I'm not talking about just a businessman, but he is a businessman.
Man.
Shout out to Jay-Z. But not only has Love Abstract delved into the music realm, but he's delved into the app creation realm. And some things are secret. We're going to talk more of it when we can get him on the show. He's a very busy man, but I just definitely want to give a shout out and spotlight Love Abstract, because he has worked on multiple apps and bringing those to the forefront for iPhone users in the Android market, and being able to not only fill different voids for people during the pandemic, but also bring value in ways that underserved communities may see them. And the app that I'm talking about, I cannot speak about.
You can't
yet.
really go into detail,
Yeah,
but
I do want to tell you, I want to give a shout out and a spotlight to Love Abstract because he is continuing to diversify his portfolio lifestyle. And one thing that I definitely want to point out is the fact that as we conquer the days, we understand that if we diversify our portfolio lifestyle that we live, we learn to understand that not only can we add value to others' lives, but by giving value to other people, we give value to ourselves
we gain value.
we're fulfilling the not necessarily the voids that are within us, but the purpose that we're meant to fulfill.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to give a shout out to Love Abstract for filling those voids and adding value to other people's life. Another
Wait. And before you get into that, just some
Whoop.
context on Love Abstract. If you haven't seen that episode, if you don't know who he's talking about, Akron artist. He described his sound on our show as like a alternative pop, I believe it was.
It was, and it's pretty accurate,
Definitely pretty accurate. And he, as Willie said, he's very busy, not only just doing music, not moving back and forth from Akron to California to NYC, but also working on business stuff, apps, real estate, diversifying his portfolio, diversifying out in the days, which we've had a topic. That might have been his episode.
Woo, diversifying.
I think I might have been his episode, honestly. But if it wasn't, it is all good. Sorry to whoever's episode I was. We ain't trying to play you. But yeah, before we move forward on to the next spotlight, Love, man, dude is busy. I see a lot of people. So first of all, he's a music artist. He's an artist who makes music. And it's his main goal is to do that. But you see a lot of other artists. He's just been taking notes, man. That's sort of thing you mentioned Jay-Z earlier. But Jay-Z is one of those people who sort of set the blueprint. No pun intended for these artists.
That pun was intended.
No, it wasn't. But it's for these young artists to understand that they're more than just an artist, that they can be a business, and that they can diversify themselves and diversify their incomes and to create a more solidified financial situation. You know what I mean? Because look at Jay-Z and Diddy got to be the ones that got to figure it out. And you look at people like Drake and moving forward.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's really important to understand that diversification, because when you get to really look at the portfolio of an artist's lifestyle that has longevity, you start to see that a majority of their income is not coming from music.
Yeah.
It's not coming from
That's
music.
the one thing that I learned really quickly. And I didn't mean to name off like Diddy, Jay-Z, and Drake. That's not really like the top. I didn't mean to name off these top people, but people
it's
like
really good
people
examples.
like Cardi, people like Ty Dolla, people like Mac Miller, even before he passed, R.I.P. They all had stakes in real estate, all had stakes in electronics and in tech because they knew that the markets, they knew where to make their money, knew how to invest their money. They had a lot of money to invest. They didn't just sit on it and wait for more money to come in through music. They wanted to double it up and triple it up and stuff like that. So you can see these artists are newer, quote unquote, and they're not like this OG like Diddy or Drake. I consider Drake an OG at this point. He's been around for over 10 years. It's hard to debate. But then you look at somebody like Jay-Z and Diddy, they for real OGs, triple OG type thing. But you look even these newer artists like Ty Dolla, Cardi. I'm sure Meg probably got.
I even count Rihanna in that.
Yes, Rihanna.
Where most of Rihanna's income is not music.
Yeah. So is this something that
Chains, Rick Ross?
Yeah, you can name off all these folks, man. Yeah, Rick Ross, one of the main people. You think about somebody like that. Nipsey was one of those people as well. R.I.P. You know, what I mean, you think about those folks, how it took them to look where they are now. You know what I mean? They were doing this stuff for a while, kind of quiet. Now it's mainstream. Now it's cool. Now the people understand why they did so much, and they're more open about their business ventures, which I appreciate. You know, they have a reason to be a little more on the low about it. But shout out to Rick Ross, shout out to Nip, shout out to these people for being open about what they're doing with their money and showing folks how to double it up and make their own bread. So shout out to Love for taking the blueprint and making it work for himself before because I personally think he's gonna be one of the people to make it in terms of music, because the man's got it.
Facts.
But he's not waiting for himself to make it in order to be like, oh, now I can start my thing with the Zap. No, like, get it rolling.
He's investing in his portfolio now.
Yeah, and that's respectable. So without any more ado, you can move forward with your spotlight. Sorry.
Oh, the second entity that I want to spotlight is definitely more of a restaurant, bar, lounge in the Valley here in Akron called Social 8. And not only have they used the pandemic to diversify their portfolio as far as like the services they offer. Like they have a drive-through now. They, because of DeWine administering the fact that you can like give drinks through a drive-through. They made sure they stepped up on that. They did upgrades and renovations during this whole pandemic, and they just they got a fire vibe that's there. They're giving a fire experience when they opened back up this past weekend. The patio was open till 9. Basically because that's kind of like 10 o'clock is the cutoff time here in Ohio. But definitely I would like to give a shout out and a spotlight to them for conquering the days, because in the midst of what I would call turmoil, you use that to build.
Especially
you
for
use
a small
that
business.
small business growth and small business diversification as far as what you offer to people. And I hate to kind of make this episode kind of about diversification, but that's as far as like spotlighting people. I've noticed that being able to diversify within your portfolio of what you're offering as far as value to people is imperative to your growth and your conquering of the days.
I feel like especially with what's going on right now, you have similar to what we were talking about earlier. If you missed a discussion, you got to go check that. But we talked about how you need to adapt with the days. The days is always in effect. It's always happening. You have to be able to adapt in order to continue making progress. And that's what the goal is. Social 8 adapted to make progress. Even Love Abstract was like, okay, I'm not blowing up as fast as I wanted. I'm about to adapt and get this other shit moving in the meantime, so I can have all my cards, all my ducks in a row when the time comes, which is incredibly smart. You know what I mean? So both shout out to Social 8 and Love Abstract for putting on for Akron, and really showing, what it's like to really acknowledge the days and then address it and conquer it. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So respect.
Adaptation is key as we evolve and push forward in this new world. You know what I mean? Things are definitely more connected, but are we actually more connected? Again, that's part of the days. And as we move forward into this next part of my spotlight, which is a little bit more international, that's kind of where it starts from. As the world, as Twitter, all these people, as the language barriers has dropped, as the actual barriers have dropped, and things have opened up, you see a spotlighting of certain cultures.
Okay.
Today, for my spotlight, is the whole island of Jamaica. No bias. No
Island
bias
days.
Shit.
No bias.
The whole island of Jamaica.
Whole island.
But by the whole island, I mean everything coming out of there.
Yeah.
Every export.
Yes.
Whether it be music, art, videography, photos, any type of art coming out. And I think a few months back when we saw the verses of Bounty and Beanie Killer, which was to highlight the first actual verses with two people in the same location.
Facts.
And we saw how that took off, and not only the certain energy to it, we saw how talented and how prime and ripe Jamaican people are, and Jamaican artist talents are for this new era of live streaming concerts. And then we followed with the Chronix concert that I showed you guys the other day.
Amazing.
Chronix live stream.
That guy.
Alien. And now, obviously, there's been backlash in the few weeks because a lot of Jamaicans feel like they haven't been getting the shine over the years that they deserve after years of almost being kind of like Africa for the natural resources.
Literally.
Taking.
And pulling, reaching, bro. It's so crazy. Past years, 20, 30 years.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see now that the business kind of grows with the overall shine and view of the islands, that they start working in more major label deals and more artists start getting international collabs, and the artists themselves on the island have been collabing more. You see more unity on the island.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, you can really see the they feel it, bro. You can almost see it in the way they're moving across like you said, across the entire island, bro. I'm looking at people like Black Hero, and then looking at Chronix, and I'm seeing the similarities and the energy. I'm like, these are two totally different ends of the spectrum in terms of like star power. You know what I mean? But like, it's the exact same vision. Like I'm about to capitalize on this because we in a mission of like hyperspeed right now. I don't even understand why, except maybe people are just finally getting hip to the point that Jamaican culture has sort of been something that's been a baseline for a lot of hip hop culture and a lot of African American culture here
World
in the U.S.
culture, yeah.
yeah, and in general, culture in general. And you see that a lot you see them getting respect in the Latin charts. You know what I mean? You see a lot of that stuff happening, and that started happening before it happened here. So it's like, I feel like it's time for it to pop here, which is going to help it explode globally on a different level. Of course, going big in Europe and going big on the Latin charts and stuff like that is one thing. But when you boom in the U.S., it's just different. So I'm looking forward to seeing people, specifically people like Chronics, people like Pop, people like Alkaline, people like Kabaka, Protege,
Kabaka.
Lila Ike. I want to see all of them. Savannah. I want to see all of them eat within the next year because of the fact that I feel like they have the right sound, they have the right image, and they also are moving in the right way right now when it's the most lucrative. You know.
Now I want to ask you a question, Locc. Do you think the pandemic gave people time to be able to consume more that they weren't normally consuming, and that aided in the progression of that?
I can't say that.
Okay.
I can't say it was the pandemic. I can say that it was a culmination of things. I feel like it's been building up to this over the course of the past few years. So it makes sense for it to come to this point. But I can say that the pandemic, I was talking to my mom about this yesterday. I was explaining to her, I was talking to her about I was playing some Chronics in the car. I was playing Selassie Children from off of Chronology. Shout out. It's a hit. But I was playing that and I was like, man, this is music, man. I turned it up like, man, this is just a vibe. I was explaining to her why I like the music so much. I was like, I just connect with it on an emotional level. It's just different. I was like, it's really almost like gospel music. It's the energy. It's all positive. It's all pushing forward towards progress. There's no holding nobody back. You know what I mean? They make songs about fucking up niggas that hold niggas back. You know what I mean? It's just a different ball game. So I'm talking to my mom, like, man, this shit is inspiring. It's uplifting music. But given the pandemic, it is extremely downing on anybody. Everybody broke. Everybody scared. Everybody like, I gotta wear a mask. I'm gonna die. My mom in the hospital. Like, everybody tripping out. That music is extremely uplifting, bro. That's one thing about Jamaicans that I have such admiration for because they go through so much. Like the island itself. You see the tourist photos, yeah, but the island itself is not all this beautiful resort life. It's not all beautiful Jamaican beaches. It's for real. It's similar to America where you have those spots where you're like, oh, this is dope, but then you got the hood, and the hood in Jamaica is arguably worse than it is here. You know what I mean?
Of course it is. The hood anywhere is poverty here in America is
different. It's a different level than poverty other places. I agree 100%. I've never been other places, but I can definitely agree. And I'm looking at the way that you see these artists, man, they address these problems head on. You know what I mean? They address all the social issues head on, whether it's skin bleaching or anything like that. They address the issues with the politics directly. You know what I mean? Without fear. And here it's a little different. But they understand the importance in addressing these things because they know how it affects them and their people and the youth, which will take over the island in the future. You know what I mean? So in the music, it's so positive. So I can't say the pandemic didn't necessarily push it forward, but the culmination of the emotion, you know what I mean? People going to dance on Jamaican music and reggae music to try and uplift themselves could have been a byproduct of everything going on. So, yeah, I don't think it was... Yeah.
And the music from the islands has evolved to the point now where maybe back in the 70s and 80s, it was just dance hall and just reggae, but you can't really say that some people are just making in that box. So it's more of just a Jamaican music, as the Africans over in Africa are making African music, and all of it doesn't sound the same, or the Latinos in certain parts of South America, or you know what I mean, all over the world are making Latin music that doesn't really sound the same.
It's genre. Same way hip hop. Hip hop has gotten to that point now where it's like it's different facets to it where you have to respect them. You have to respect these different facets. Same with Jamaican and reggae music. You got these artists make music about similar subjects, entirely different delivery. You know what I mean? It's a whole different vibe. You know?
And I think that's really important to understand. And I want to go back to the fact that like everybody's portfolio is different.
Yes.
Everybody's portfolio is different. And not only that, everybody's portfolio is important.
Yeah.
And when we even talk about like the Black Lives Matter movement, it's just like, no, not only do Black Lives matter, Black lives are worthy. Black lives are needed. Black lives are the pushing factor of a lot of what culture that we see happening. So when you even put that in the Latinx community, when you put that into the indigenous community here in America, when you put that into the Jamaican community that you see on the islands, you start to see that, yes, culture matters, and the portfolio that those cultures offer are imperative to the growth, not only of that particular community, but to the growth of what we are intertwining in the days.
Yeah, I feel like, to AT's point earlier, one thing that I feel like is a perspective switch that I'm happy to see and I'm excited to see more of is the support that Jamaican artists are giving each other nowadays. They see the money. They see the light at the end of the tunnel. They see the opportunity, and they're uplifting each other in this moment. You know, seeing Popcorn and Protege on the track together, low key made my year. I never would have expected them, because the fact is they're in two different genres. Like Popcorn is a whole different genre than Protege, and that's fair. But they were able to make that track, you know what I mean, and make it a hit, and they move with it, you know what I mean? It's just it's combining, because there is division in Jamaica. Let's not front. There's division everywhere, you know what I mean?
Facts.
But and it's division based by music or small bits of changes in culture, as well as little stuff, you know what I mean? Like colorism and stuff. That's still a thing even in Jamaica, you know what I mean? But just seeing people like Popcorn and Kabaka, Chronix, and Protege all make songs together. Like Chronix got songs with all them niggas besides Popcorn, but Popcorn got songs with Protege. So it's like they're all connected at this point, and their genres, their audiences all come together, you know what I mean, to enjoy each other. And that creates more unity within the islands. And that's what they all push for, is unity and a shared voice for the people. You know what I mean? I feel like that's something we need more here. And I wish people, you know what I mean, would take some fucking notes on some real.
And back to your point, I think it's because of that strong root in the actual love of the art, whereas over here it's business based, and although people love the music, and a lot of people that have blown up over the years generally do love the music, I think that the business is just so ingrained in the foundation that it's kind of tainted a lot of the moving forward and that unity thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you look at any time the two great women come out, they're against each other. They have to be like, there can't be multiple women in the game, or there can't be two people that rap like
that's
this
why
in
I'm
the
happy
game.
Even though I can't say I haven't listened to a lot of the song, but shout out to Cardi
Locc.
and Meg, for coming together and showing that unity. Like, man, bitches ain't gotta be bitches to each other. Like, they ain't gotta be acting like this to each other, or girls, like these rappers, these female rappers, these artists don't have to beef because this is hip hop. We don't have to beef. We don't have to be fighting. We can enjoy each other and make money, and that's where they are going at, is making money more so than making music or creating change. But you know what I mean? It's them doing it together, so you gotta respect it. You know.
And a huge shout out to Meg for dealing with a lot of the unnecessarily backlash that she was getting from simply just telling her side of the story.
It's a lot of
stuff. Everything.
It's a lot of stuff. I'm not even about to.
I don't want to get super into it, but I just want to see.
Just because it's not.
It's
Just
just
because.
say that.
Yeah, I feel it though.
I hate it here.
This guy.
I hate it here on the internet, but we're here for the podcast. That's the Daze. That's our spotlight for today. Before we get out of here, let's just kind of ask the boys, them Daze boys, who, if we could get anyone on the show right now, let's end on a nice vibe. If we could get anyone on the show, no matter who would we get on the show?
We talking local, regional, or
anybody.
national,
Anyone.
They gotta be alive.
They got to be alive.
They gotta be alive though.
Oh, so you ain't want me to say Prince, huh? You ain't want me to say Prince.
I'll just say, I didn't want you to pull out these other. They gotta be alive.
Very seriously though, Michelle Obama. I would love to pick Michelle Obama's brain as far as how she feels about attacking certain
About
issues.
the Daze?
No, one about the Daze, but attacking certain issues that we face here in America. Because as First Lady, I feel like she made so many waves, so many moves, and brought so many things to attention. And
She was active.
and being kind of like an ex-first lady, but you're never like an ex-first lady.
Yeah.
But it's just like she
looking
continues to
back
make
in
moves,
hindsight, she's still moving.
even with her new podcast,
Right, yeah,
even
the
with everything.
book.
It's just like, how would you go about attacking a lot of the issues that we still continue to face in America, whether it's food deserts and why higher end grocery stores and fresher produce is not in disenfranchised communities, how we would attack rights to housing and stuff like that. Because the fact of the matter is, she's just as, if not more, educated than her husband, and that's one of the rarities that we have seen here as far as like. Somebody has held office as president.
That's the one thing about her activity that was so shocking. She was extremely active.
Exactly.
She was super active
and
she
qualified.
Yeah.
Like I would argue like she would be qualified to be president just as much as Barack Obama.
I was gonna say it was similar to not to really like draw too many comparisons, but it was similar to how Hillary was super active while Bill Clinton was in office. You know what I mean? So just she could have held her own and been you know what I mean? She was running for president. She was Secretary of State for a while. Like she could hold her own in there, similar to Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama definitely has a good head on her shoulders. So that's a great choice. That's awesome.
Michelle Obama, if you're hearing this, come talk about the days for
come
at least
through.
5-10 minutes. You know what I mean?
We can do a Zoom call.
Could you imagine Michelle Obama talk about the days?
We can do a Zoom call.
Locc, you next.
She'll
man.
understand it too. Okay, so for mine, if I had to choose, can I do two? I don't know.
No, you gotta pick one just for today.
It's really hard, bro.
Just for today, you can pick another
AT
one.
probably already know who I'm about to pick. I got a couple folks on the tip of my tongue. This guy, but at the end of the day, one of the reasons why I do think so critically about the days and the concept of the days is because of my understanding and because of my exposure to art and music and the stuff that I sort of gravitated to as I was growing up. One of those people that sort of helped me further my understanding of the days was Cole. So I was like, if I were able to get Cole to show up or somebody to get Cole to sit down for an hour, yeah, that would be interesting.
Nigga, we can't get him for an hour, 10 minutes,
that's what I was
bro.
saying. But
Cole,
I was saying
5 minutes,
and that's why I was like, I don't know. That's why I'm like, I don't really know if I could choose two, because if I could choose another, based off of past experiences in the past couple of years, honestly, just seeing the growth and in the sense of vision within this person, I would be a fool not to try and talk to them or sit down and pick their brain for a little bit. But it would be Chronix, because of his age, for one. He like our age, bro. He like a little older than us, I think. And to sit down with him and actually get an idea for what he views in terms of the culture internationally, though. You know what I mean? And maybe reason I chose Chronix in lieu of other people is because some people's their patois is too strong, and I would not be able to understand. So I would have to sit down with Chronix and actually understand what this man is saying. I could understand Chronix. So I would sit down and listen to him. And plus his viewpoint as being the son of a reggae artist coming up and back in the day. So just that perspective, I feel like that's part of the reason why he is so who he is at this point, because he had the elder to sort of lead the way and sort of understand their mistakes as well before he got himself in there himself. So I would be interested to talk to him, get an idea for what's going on, and see, you know what I mean? Basically, I would want to talk about music. I would be talking about music and creativity. I wouldn't necessarily be talking about social issues in this case. With Cole, I could talk about both. That's why I mentioned Cole. I could go into depth about both of those things and have a genuine conversation with another person that I'm interested in on their output. But with Chronix, I'll be asking questions about what's going on and what his viewpoint is on stuff, because the way he moves is different. You know what I mean? With the live stream,
alien.
He is, and that's what I'm saying, bro. It's so accurate because I don't know if you watched that live stream video. It got taken down a few days after, but it was incredibly well done, and it was not what I expected. I'll be 100, and it was super well done though, and dude went about it in a way that you could tell was passionate. Like even at the end, he did like a little encore at the end, and it was just like he knew that it was needed. You know what I mean? It's almost like it was over type shit. He just came back on the stage and did like 2 more songs, and it was like he knew that shit was necessary. And it's I don't know. So yeah, it would have to be Chronix or Cole. Cole too busy for me though. So what about you?
So Cole or Chronix, y'all heard of the man. Come on the days. Come talk about the days if you want.
Please.
We ain't forcing nobody, but we'd love to have you.
By
This
all
man
means.
stole both of mine. So, I mean, at this point, we're just going to shift to whoever is most relevant in my mind. And honestly, I watched it's probably a year ago, Burner Boy Rap Radar Rap Radar Podcast.
Yep.
Shout out the Rap Radar Podcast. They obviously top.
They be out here.
Yeah, that's where we're shooting for type shit. But
Thanks.
he was talking about his album before African Giant, before the latest release, Twice as Tall, and just going in depth about some of his songs and how we're kind of all victims of the powers that be. And to me, that part really stuck out. and he was referring to the song Collateral Damage
Yeah.
as far as what he was speaking on,
Yeah.
as far as the powers that be. So yeah, I would like to hear some thoughts on not only just how global his music has become, but also like what that come up is like.
Yeah.
Literally, you guys know me. That's my goal. It's like
Yeah.
where is my international sound at? You know what I mean? Where is my international artist?
And for those-
how can I get there?
And for those who don't know, Burna Boy is Nigerian. And he's making him and Stonebwoy, Wizkid, all of them are coming from the same sort of area, I believe, right? And Stonebwoy from Nigeria.
Stonebwoy's from Ghana.
Okay, thank you. But Wizkid's from Nigeria though. So Wizkid, Burna Boy, and of course Stonebwoy, different type of sounds, but they've all begun this enormous explosion internationally. And African Giant in particular, that album, if you guys aren't familiar, the album essentially attacks the misconceptions behind the way Nigeria was handled and when the colonization happened with England and stuff like that, and the way the country's being handled now, and how that time has sort of changed from when it was necessarily purchased, quote unquote, up to this point. And he addresses some very strong concepts. And I feel like it's something that's been consistent with him is because it's something that he feels very passionate about. And to speak on your point, Collateral Damage is actually one of my favorite tracks off of that album.
Very true.
And it's just... You got it.
And then moving forward on to his next album, at least, you can see the progression. You can see that sound kind of honed in. It's not as socially conscious, I would say, but
still there.
That doesn't mean that it's not there, as you said.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that energy isn't still there.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely a motivator for him when it comes to his when it comes to his creation and his art. It's definitely about, a lot of it is about education. I think he tries to educate folks through this music, interludes and such.
I haven't seen, sorry to cut you off, but I haven't seen anybody besides like the Jamaicans, but that's really like English to me, even though you can call it patois.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anyone intermingle English in another language in music that well ever.
Burna's stupid with
honestly.
it. He'll jump back and forth from pure it's almost clear English. You know what I mean? He speaks very well English. He speaks really, really good English, but he jumps back and forth mid verse type thing. It's amazing. And it's such a vibe, bro. You know what I mean? Similar to Wizkid. Wizkid does something similar to that. Not on that level, but he does it in a similar way. It might be because of Nigeria. It might be the country of Nigeria and the way that they're brought up in terms. I mean, because honestly, Nigeria they are very in tune with American culture in Nigeria and Ghana in particular. Cameroon is another one where
I throw South Africa in there too.
South Africa is kind of like, I don't even consider it being Africa. It's its own culture. It's its own country, its own continent, its own situation. Really, the rest of Africa is really intermingled in terms of what's going on. But a lot of they breed. I mean, they sort of live off of American culture. So to see them speaking English so well isn't that surprising, but to see them being able to intermingle like that is still fascinating. And to do it so well when it comes to music, and to still keep me in tune. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what he's speaking.
I don't know what he's saying on
actually,
60% of the words of the album. It's still fire.
That's it.
It's still fire. Like I'd be like looking it up, like, damn, this is what he really saying, bro. He's spazzing. So again, it's one of those things. Burna Boy, if you ever want to come on for 5-10 minutes, talk about the Daze, you more than welcome.
Yeah, more than welcome.
But that's our spotlight segment for today's episode. Again, capping. Yep. I always say capping when we're starting. We're starting the season 8.
Yes. No cap.
No cap. We're starting no cap.
Nobody got caps on.
So we're back. We're gonna have some guests on next week, hopefully, and we're gonna have guests for the rest of the season. So stay tuned for that content. Last words from my brothers.
Hey, man, I appreciate everyone who has been tuning in. Y'all know it's all love. If y'all just tuning in, it's all love. You know what I mean? We starting up. We back here. It ain't too late for you to peep what we did and to become a new fan, or at least kind of let us know what's going on. So, yes, I appreciate you. Much love to you if you tuned in, if you clicked on the video. Make sure like and comment how you feel. Until next time, all love.
Yep.
Last words,
ain't
Willie?
got no last.
I mean, all right.
That was my last. I'm sorry. I be saying bye,
That's
but
his last word.
I apologize.
But no, thank you for tuning in. I definitely want to thank Locc and AT for kind of like welcoming me on the proper Daze show. If you haven't seen past episodes, you're late. Never late is better, but you know it's okay to roll in a little bit late. You know you can sit on down and peep the content. So
Fashionably.
I just want to let y'all know I'm grateful to be here yet again another day, especially considering everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And stay tuned, and we definitely want to continue to grow, flourish, get better. Stay tuned and help us, hopefully grow and get some cheddar.
That is the play. That's the play.
That is the play.
Thank you, Willie B. Today's episode, we've been back warming up on the days, recapping the days, talking about how it's shared experience between everyone and how we're essentially all connected because of this days.
Yep.
So look out for new content. Look out for new vibes. You know what it is, people. Much love. Until next time.
Cheers.
Peace.
My people, we have made it through another Daze episode, another Days of life. And if you're not hip to the days, you're a little late, but that's fine. We're rolling with a new look. We're adapting with the times. That's the days itself. But stay tuned. We got new content on the way, people.
If you happen to miss the past content we did for the past few years, know you late. Go ahead and check all that in the links in the description below. Make sure to check all the info and get up to date as soon as possible.
And make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below, and hit that bell notification. And make sure that you follow us on all social media at the Q Brand and at _Daze_.
I'm Locc.
I'm Willie B.
And I'm AT.
Peace.
Cheer.
Days.